Excellency, the Minister of Health opens the Oman Medical Association Temporary Hospital for COVID-19 treatment in Al Amarat. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Pursuant to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq's approval, the Minister of Interior today issued a decision postponing the third term of the municipal council elections scheduled for this year, 2020. The decision is taken in view of the current situation of the Sultanate and the whole world due to coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, and until the elections are held, the current members will hold positions in the council. The date of the new elections will be announced in time. The Minister of Health announced the death of a 48-year-old male resident, which makes the total COVID-19 deaths in the Sultanate to 22. It also announced 157 new confirmed cases. That brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 5,186. The Minister of Health stressed that 1,465 cases have been recovered.
Within the efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19, the Ministry advises all citizens and residents to keep on washing hands with water and soap. Avoid touching the face, nose, mouth and eyes. Follow hygienic habits when coughing and sneezing. Adhere strictly to social distancing instructions. Stay at home and not to go out unless absolutely necessary. Adhering to isolation and social distancing will prevent you, your family and the community from COVID-19. Stay safe.
His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, today opened the Oman Medical Association, OMA, temporary hospital for COVID-19 treatment in Al Amarat in the Governorate of Muscat. More details in the following report.
In recognition of its social and humanitarian responsibility amid the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Omani Medical Association launched Mu'afa initiative Together for Oman, with the approval of the Minister of Social Development and in coordination with the Minister of Health.
I'm delighted to open this private hospital, the Ad Life Hospital, which is going to be operated by the Oman Medical Association. I'm grateful to all of them for having this very important initiative. In this time where the whole universe is suffering from COVID-19, we have excellent proof in Oman that the private sector has been a very effective partner. And also we have an excellent proof that our healthcare professionals, whether they are in the government, private sector, led by the Oman Medical Association, they prove that they are professionals, that they do care, and they came up with this initiative to run this hospital independently from the Minister of Health, of course following the instructions, the guidelines of the Minister of Health.
We are extremely happy to share the hospital with the government authorities during this pandemic crisis. Actually, we were planning to open and operate from March onwards, but because of the crisis we delayed. And anyway, now the government authorities, we have asked the government authorities to take over and manage for this COVID crisis.
And it's always a delight to take the opportunity to thank all healthcare workers and volunteers, wherever they are. They are working around the clock to keep us all safe. But that will not be completed without us cooperating with them. I mean the public, by keeping our social distancing, by following the healthy instructions, by staying at home unless we have to go out for something that's very necessary. So I urge everybody to please continue the physical distancing. The virus is still circulating. The number of cases are still increasing. And the reason for that, lack of adherence of some. The majority are doing an excellent job in adhering to social distancing, but unfortunately it takes one person to circulate and spread the virus in the community.
From the very outset, approximately 40 health volunteers, mostly Omani cadres, volunteered. After 2 weeks, the number of volunteers reached 100 outside their working hours, where planning began for preparing a field hospital.
The decision made by Oman Medical Association that to have a portable hospital at the beginning, but then later we have a fixed hospital who actually was ready here. When we came and had a negotiation with the owner of the hospital, Ad Life Hospital, Dr. Alex, that to occupy this hospital for almost 2 to 3 months for the cases who are diagnosed already and positive for admission. And this is a decision made by the Oman Medical Association and then by volunteers. Almost around 98 to 99% of the volunteers are Omanis.
Ad Life Hospital, which was under the final procedures to be set as a public hospital, was agreed with to reserve it by the Omani Medical Association for the treatment of the COVID-19 cases and took the name of the temporary Oman Medical Association Hospital under the initiative of Mu'afa. The hospital consists of 64 beds, of which 4 beds are for the intensive care unit. The hospital is receiving the confirmed cases with mild to moderate symptoms to be admitted in the hospital according to the international guidelines and protocols. The hospital is the first voluntary hospital for the treatment of epidemics in the region under the full management of the Omani staff.
I am a nurse volunteer through Oman Nursing Association. I have been called here to be a volunteer in this hospital, caring for patients with positive COVID-19, but they are stable and control blood pressure and hypertensive. We received cases from another hospital, Onek and Stadium, and then they will be admitted in the ward. We are here to care for them, to take vital signs, to give medication, and to give the daily care for the patient. And we have to maintain the social distancing at the same time, and we have to protect ourselves through wearing masks, gown, and the PPE precautions.
Medical professional teams have been formed, including specialized teams of nurses to develop and divide the hospital's medical assistant staff in accordance with international protocols, in addition to quality assurance and patient safety team, as well as infection control team in cooperation with the Directorate General of Private Health Establishment and another hospital, and a medical follow-up team led by a doctor from the Oman Medical Association and volunteers of nurses from Oman Nursing Association. It's indeed great to see this joining force between the private healthcare institutions and healthcare staff representing different areas, making their contribution towards providing healthcare at this time of pandemic. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Al Amrat, Muscat.
Efforts are continuing at all health establishments in the Sultanate to combat the spread of coronavirus. Hayy al-Jama Health Center is working to find suspected cases of the virus and conduct required tests and then send them to the central laboratory for final results. Precautionary measures are being taken by the center as some non-emergency clinics are being suspended in addition to activating technology to contact patients. Still to come, my news bulletin. The project of rose water and olive oil making and extracting medicinal and aromatic oils from wild plants in Jabal Akhdar with modern technologies is a successful investment project.
Non-compliance with the directives of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus COVID-19 exposes you to risk and legal action. Stay safe.
The coronavirus COVID-19 has killed 311,959 people worldwide since it surfaced in China late last year. There have been at least 4.65 million of officially recorded cases in 196 countries and territories. The United States has recorded the most deaths at 88,754. It is followed by Britain with 34,466 Italy with 31,763, Spain with 27,650, and France with 27,625. Latin America and the Caribbean have recorded more than 500,000 infections, with almost half of those recorded in Brazil. Meanwhile, a top Chinese medical official said the country faces a potential second wave due to a lack of immunity among its population. In Madagascar, a 57-year-old hospital worker with underlying diabetes and high blood pressure is the first death of a patient suffering from the virus there in nearly 2 months after COVID-19 was first detected in that country. And the growth of new cases in Russia is stabilizing as the daily tally falls under 10,000 for the third time this week. Back here in the Sultanate, the public establishment for industrial estates Madain continued its intensive efforts to combat the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19 and mitigate its effects in the various industrial cities. Inspection visits to 1,855 industrial units have been conducted until last week. Of these visits, 1,456 industrial units were found adhering to precautionary procedures, while warning and practices correction notices were issued to 399 industrial units. Through these inspection visits, Madain officials aim at disseminating awareness among the workers in the companies and factories on safe and healthy practices at the workplace. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has taken measures to activate direct importing through Omani ports. The ministry affirmed that these measures have contributed to activating commercial and economic movements in the Sultanate and adding more variety of goods and prices in the market. These measures also has enabled owners of small and medium enterprises companies and local agents to import goods directly from the country of origin and given local consumers different choices. Around 7,000 land plots were distributed in the governorates of the Sultanate by the end of March 2020. The National Center for Statistics and Information clarified that the governorates of Dakhiliya occupied around 34% of the lands that were distributed during March 2020. Meanwhile, in the governorate of North Sharqiya, the number of distributed lands reached 1,463. The number of housing lands plots in the governorate of Dakhiliya reached 1,132. In the governorate of Muscat, the distributed plots reached 1,116. In the governorate of Dhofar, the number of lands reached 947. The Directorate General of Scouts and Guides organized the first virtual training forum under the theme, The Active Leadership and its Role in Crisis Management. It aimed to enhance the creative capabilities of the youths in the fields of training, equip them with skills that help them to face cases or crises, and develop them in the health of strategies and mechanisms to deal with crisis economy. Experts, academics, and physicians from inside the Sultanate, along with the Arab Scout organization, took part in this virtual training forum. The project of rosewater and olive oil, making and extracting medicinal and aromatic oils from wild plants in Jabal Al-Akhdar with modern technologies is a successful investment project and a new addition to the Omani industries. More details in the following report.
Where there is a will, there is a way. With his determination and commitment, he turned the rocks into a plain of roses. He is Ahmed bin Abdullah Saqri, the owner of the project for rose water and olive oil making and extracting medicinal and aromatic wild plant oil in Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar.
This project is mainly agricultural. We started in 2018 by preparing the land because Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar region is rocky area we prepared around 8,000 square meters. We brought the machines from outside the Sultanate and we started distilling rose water. In the coming days, another set of devices will arrive and we will start extracting perfumes.
There are 800 rose trees in this farm, including 8 types, in addition to a group of olive trees. To irrigate these crops, a groundwater tank was built to collect rainwater and use it for irrigation.
We planted more than 400 trees of Omani roses, around 160 Bulgarian roses, and 150 Rosa Damascena. We brought other types of roses such as royal roses and Tunisian roses. We would like to thank all government organizations. They supported us financially and morally in this project.
This investment project is not merely dedicated to extracting rose water, but it is a living model of an integrated industrial, crafts and tourism project, where Ahmed has introduced modern technology with the aim to achieve added value, develop the Omani products and preserve this cultural heritage. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, صالح بوغلفان الرحبي, الداخلية, Governorate.
You're watching the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Pursuant to His Majesty Sultan Haitham's approval, the Ministry of Interior postpones the third term of the Municipal Council elections. The Ministry of Health announces the death of a male resident and 157 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. And His Excellency the Minister of Health opens the Oman Medical Association Temporary Hospital for COVID-19 treatment in Al Amarat. And with that, we'll come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Thanks for watching. Night.